Hello everyone, and welcome back to the One channel. It's been quite a while since I've made an upload, and man, what an upload this is going to be. This is going to be an analysis and a breakdown of the recent Jurassic World Dominion trailer that only dropped about yesterday or the day before. I'm actually very excited for this film. I was really quite tentative to be interested in it and to watch it when it drops and when it comes out, but I was slightly disappointed by Fallen Kingdom, but now I've got high hopes for this movie and hopefully it can pull through. But there are some glaring problems that I'll get into. So without further ado, from the perspective of someone who is a paleontology enthusiast, let's get into the video.
I wanted to show them something that wasn't an illusion.
So immediately we're shown this really snowy landscape, which to me looks like it's probably Montana. And the reason I say that is because later in the trailer we see some other stuff that might correlate towards that. And then we get these Parasaurolophus, a herd of Parasaurolophus, rushing onto the screen here. What's interesting here is that they've all got different patterns to each other. They've all got an identity. And I like that they're finally doing that with these films and giving the dinosaurs some color. You can see Chris Pratt's leading a cowboy charge to corral these rogue Parasaurolophus to try and rein them in. This is actually quite interesting because we don't know who those other two characters are, but as you can see, it doesn't seem like there's really any federal or governmental force trying to stop these rogue animals, these introduced species. It seems like it's just up to the people that actually introduced them to control them. And perhaps this is some sort of commentary on climate change, the way that really no one that actually has the power to stop it is doing much about it. It's up to the people, the public, to take care of it and to try and sort it out.
Something that was real. Something that they could see and touch.
Now we're getting these lines from Richard Attenborough. He played John Hammond in the first two Jurassic Park films, and I don't think these are his lines. They sound a little bit different. Let me know what you guys think. I'm not sure if they're actually him talking, or if they're maybe alternate takes from the original films. There's the Apatosaurus from Jurassic World, and there's Maisie from Fallen Kingdom. Now it looks like they're in some kind of lumber yard or even a construction site of some kind. So this really doesn't imply to me that the forest that the dinosaurs were released into may now be under threat, and that maybe this is why they're trying to corral them, that at the beginning of the film, the environment they've been introduced to itself is kind of coming into conflict with them, because humans are also encroaching in that environment, and they're cutting down all these trees, and the dinosaurs are not used to that. They're not used to having to deal with, or having to coexist with human beings. So it is good to see the Apatosaurus again. As usual, it's not the most accurate dinosaur in the world, but you know, it's an Apatosaurus. At least they didn't call it a Brontosaurus. That would make things much worse. And I'm actually quite happy to see Maisie again, because I think her actress copped a little bit too much flack from the last film. I think she did quite a good job, and I thought she had a very interesting story and an interesting origin. It was a completely different take from the original films, and certainly from Jurassic World. But I like this idea of this genetic chaos that they're delving into.
Creation is an act of sheer will. Life will find a way.
We can't keep her here forever.
They find her, we're never going to see her again. We got to protect her. That's our job.
Humans and dinosaurs can't coexist. We created an ecological disaster.
And finally we have a look at Blue, and Blue has had a little baby Blue who seems to be a complete clone of her, which indicates to me that this was not sexual reproduction, it was asexual, or heterosexual reproduction, I should say. So she has reproduced asexually, as they mentioned in the first Jurassic Park film, with the frogs, the West African frogs that Sam Neill talked about, or Alan Grant, I should say. We get the Universal logo out of amber, so that's quite cool, nice little nod there. And the house that O.N.E was building in Fallen Kingdom at the beginning has now almost been completed, or perhaps is completed, and he seems to be living there with Maisie and Claire. And he's pretty much warning Claire that, these dinosaurs need to be protected, particularly Blue, but he's also talking about all of them, that this is not something that should be trusted to the government. And look at that. A Mosasaurus, or the Mosasaurus, I should say, completely overturning an entire fishing vessel. Bit of irony there for the fishermen. And Rexy, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, completely destroying a drive-in theater because, well, no one goes to them anymore.
Ellie Sattler.
Alan Grant.
You didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
You coming or what?
And there, when I first saw this moment, I freaked out. And then I saw him and I freaked out even more. So we get the return of Laura Dern and Sam Neill playing Dr. Ellie Sattler and Dr. Alan Grant. This is huge. This is going to be the big draw for the film. And it seems to me that Alan is probably really running out of work now that he's still a paleontologist and, the world has actual living dinosaurs in it. And then we because frankly, in real life, if there were just real dinosaurs running around, there wouldn't be much need for paleontologists anymore. So it seems to me that Ellie has gone to Alan and kind of said to him that they need his assistance, or, she's getting the gang back together, basically, to go and rein in some of these animals. Because they are really the people with the most experience, especially Alan. He's been to 2 of the islands and experienced some of the worst that Jurassic Park had to offer.
We're racing toward the extinction of our species. We not only lack dominion over nature, we're subordinate to it.
So then we see probably the same herd of Parasaurolophus that we saw before, running with some wild horses, and a Therizinosaurus. Therizinosaurus is one of the least known dinosaurs. It's only known from a couple of remains. It was first thought to be a giant turtle when they first discovered it. It's a dinosaur from Asia. It's stalking after Claire there. It is a very formidable animal, but it is not actually a carnivore, believe it or not. This animal was herbivorous. It probably used those massive foreclaws. You can see them, they're meter-long foreclaws. Would have used them to shear vegetation from really tough plants, and or food from tough plants, I should say. But it is very close to Claire's head there. I think it knows she's down there. This looks like it's going to be a very suspenseful scene. I really look forwards to seeing Therizinosaurus in action. Then we get the return of Jeff Goldblum playing Dr. Ian Malcolm, and along with him, we get B.D. Wong playing Dr. Wu. Now, Wu, I think here is going to be a very, very big player in this film. I think he's probably going to be the main antagonist, and it seems to me that he might be leading some sort of cloning facility or reintroduction facility. He seems to be wanting the dinosaurs to succeed. I think if I had to put a bet on it and make a theory, I would say he's probably the result or the culprit that is leading to these animals being truly reintroduced to the Earth. I think he is trying to get rid of humanity and he wants to replace them with dinosaurs. And then we get to see Claire absolutely running for her life from what looks to be a new kind of velociraptor. I do not think this is any different sort of raptor. I think this is still a quote-unquote velociraptor by Jurassic Park standards. And I'm going to pause in a second. Look there. I think that's a velociraptor. It looks like the ones from the Lost World, if you ask me. I don't think this is, a Utah raptor. It looks a little bit too small to be a Utah raptor. I don't think this is any other kind of Dromaeosaurid. I think this is just Velociraptor, but with different patterns, and it's more villainous this time in this film rather than the last 2.
Come back.
I always come back.
So then we see this new facility. This is where I think Dr. Wu is doing his little evil experiments. It's this sanctuary. We get a callback to Jurassic Park 3 with Dr. Alan Grant there looking out of the window and kind of really looking quite, not even surprised. He actually looks very concerned. Then we see this new kind of Dromaeosaurid here. If you ask me, and I'm not sure if it's been confirmed as to what this dinosaur is, someone tell me in the comments if it has been confirmed. This looks like a Utah raptor to me. It looks like it's either a Utah raptor or a Dakota raptor. Big, feathery, very powerful, and frankly, I don't think those two in the background stand a chance. Okay, now this is something that I really want to talk about. This title card says it's the end of the Jurassic era. It does not say it's the end of the saga. It's the end of the Jurassic era. Now, this makes me think there will be more films or more streaming shows, whatever they're going to release, based on the events by the end of this movie. I seriously doubt they're just going to drop the franchise off. I think this is going to be a launching point for a totally new era, basically. An era where humans have to coexist with dinosaurs, and maybe it's even going to be like a Walking Dead situation where the dinosaurs actually outnumber humans and humans are all dying out. I think that would be an incredible idea. They could really delve into the more horror aspects that have been lacking from the past few films. I know Fallen Kingdom had some horror in it, but you know what I'm talking about. I mean proper horror stuff from Jurassic Park. It was scary, it was eerie. They can seriously go into that if they go with like a Walking Dead situation, which I think would be really, really cool. Now this is interesting. We see Ellie on a farm and two children being chased by a swarm of insects. These are not dinosaurs, they're not pterosaurs, they look like insects to me, which means we might be getting some sort of, even if they might not even be prehistoric, they could just be locusts or something like that, but they look like they're some introduced species of prehistoric bug or insect, maybe Meganeura, something like that. Meganeura was a giant prehistoric dragonfly. I think that would be kind of cool if they introduced that, but it's more likely these are wasps or even mosquitoes, going with the Jurassic Park theme of mosquitoes. But yeah, let's keep moving on. By the way, I will say quickly, these are not Ellie Sattler's kids. I've heard someone talk about that they think the boy was her son from Jurassic Park 3. It's definitely not. He's way too young in this film. Her son by this point would be like 20 years old at this stage, so it's definitely not her son. We get to see Owen on his motorcycle again, this time being chased by velociraptors rather than actually riding with them. They're chasing him this time. They chase him into this court here, and look, there's an adult Allosaurus on the right and what looks like a Carnotaurus on the left there, and they look like they're either squaring off against each other or they're going to start eating some pedestrians around there. So hopefully there will be some actual gore in this film instead of just, off-screen deaths or some screaming. I want to see some dinosaurs eating people in this movie.
That's another plane, right?
Not exactly.
Don't move. Bigger. Why do they always have to go bigger?
Then at last we get to see a scene with a truly monstrous pterosaur. This is a Quetzalcoatlus. It's quite possibly the largest organism that has ever flown on this planet and is attacking their aeroplane here. We have the new character. I'm not sure if she's a pilot or a paleontologist, or she seems to be a mixture. And then Quetzalcoatlus bites the engine there. I'm not sure if that's perfectly healthy for that animal. The poor thing would be quite hurt after that. We also get some pteranodons swooping in there at Claire, and an adult male Nasutoceratops bulldozes that car. And then, this is where things get interesting. Something happens here to Baby Blue that I'm going to just pause it and have a look at here. Okay, it now looks like it was actually a net. So it was a trap that the Baby Blue sprung, basically, and Blue's trying to get it down here. This is interesting. So it looks like Maisie is stuck in a cage of some kind, and those teeth do not look like a Giganotosaurus teeth. I think this is actually the T-Rex biting down on the cage there. So maybe she's trying to get the T-Rex to come fight the Giga like Claire did in Jurassic World against the Indominus, and it's kind of backfired and the Rex is actually attacking her. It could be the Giga, I just think this looks like a Tyrannosaurus jaw, Tyrannosaurus Rex teeth there instead of a Giganotosaurus. Okay, so this is where we get into the third act of the film. Claire and Ellie, almost called her Laura then, Claire and Ellie are in this laboratory, and it looks like the team are kind of splitting up, because you'll see here Alan, Owen, and Maisie are all doing their own thing. So what I think happens, this trailer is not chronological, and I'll tell you why afterwards. I'm pretty sure I know the general structure of the story just by watching this trailer. I just have to piece it together at the end and I'll tell you. But yeah, they're definitely splitting up inside this laboratory, and I think it's probably Dr. Wu's laboratory, and they're kind of going their separate ways to try and maybe acquire something or shut something down. It's some MacGuffin that they're all going after. By the way, I really, really, really love this shot with Alan. I think it's actually really funny for some reason. I just really like it. It's definitely wallpaper worthy. It's just a kind of cool looking action shot. And then, of course, we have the return of the Dilophosaurus from the first Jurassic Park film. Again, this one does not look like an adult. For those of you that don't know, in the first movie it was explained, well, they didn't explain it in the movie, but basically that the reason the Dilophosaurus is kind of small in that film is because it was actually a juvenile, and that the adults are much, much bigger. They're even bigger than velociraptors. So you can see it in Jurassic World when the Dilophosaurus hologram stops one of the raptors in the museum. The Dilophosaurus is basically eye level with the raptor, which is not what it would be if it was the same one from Jurassic Park. So this one is still quite a small Dilophosaurus here. Okay, then we lead into this scene. This is one that I think is around the same time that Maisie gets attacked by the T-Rex in the cage. Alan and Owen have a bit of a moment where they kind of say, you know, don't move at the same time, and then we lead into one of the big reveals of the trailer as all of the characters are sort of attacked by a Giganotosaurus, basically. But if you'll notice this background, this shot here, it looks like an entire forest is burning down, pretty much. And I'm wondering if that's some sort of attempt to kill the dinosaurs, or if this is in that Dr. Wu's facility with all the trees and the greenery on top of it, if it's all burning for some reason. It definitely looks a little bit industrial on the left there with all those buildings. I'm really not sure what's going on here. I think it seems like it's some sort of attempt to destroy whatever area they're in a way maybe to kill the dinosaurs or to kill all the people there. It's really, really quite strange. And then, of course, we have the Giganotosaurus, probably the main big dinosaur antagonist of the film. You know, it's the heavy hitter that they've introduced. Giganotosaurus was a theropod dinosaur, a carnosaur that lived in South America during the mid to late Cretaceous period. It did not exist at the same time as Tyrannosaurus Rex, which is where one of my gripes about the movie comes from, the fact that it opens with this sort of prelude, a prologue, where the T-Rex fights a Giganotosaurus in North America, which simply never would have happened. It was completely impossible, but, you know, you've got to let some things go, I guess, for, you know, creative freedoms and such things to get the story going. Now, I think that this means that the film will end, the climactic battle, I should say, is going to be a rematch between that T-Rex and that Giganotosaurus in the present. And that, you know, it's going to happen in this scene here, and that's probably why Maisie gets attacked by the Rex earlier in the cage. I think she's definitely trying to lure it out to try to get it to fight the Giga so that they can get into Dr. Wu's facility. Now, what I'm actually going to do before I end this video is I'm going to comment, I'm going to pin a comment down below talking about also how muffled my microphone has been for this entire video, but also discussing the general outline of the plot that I think is going to happen in this film. If you don't want to read that, I'm going to put it in a pinned comment, and I'll put it in the read more part, so you don't, if you read the comment, you won't see it straight away. But yeah, that's kind of going to speak English. That's kind of going to wrap up this video, guys. Let me know what you thought of this trailer. Let me know what you think of the film, and let me know in a comment down below about what you think my plot outline is going to be like, and if I'm going to be accurate with that. So, with that said and done, I'll see you guys in the next video. You can subscribe if you want, but you don't have to. All I want is for you guys to leave a comment telling me your opinions on things. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.